In 1944, 4 years into the German occupation of Poland, Joseph and Victoria Ulma and their 6 children were hiding 8 Jews in the attic of their home in a small farming village of Markowa in southeast Poland. They were preparing for the birth of their 7th child and the possibility that the 8 Jews they sheltered could come out of hiding and live once again without fear. The German authorities had decreed that any form of help or contact with Jews was punishable by death. But word got out about who they were hiding. And in the early morning hours of March 24th, German police officers arrived at their home. First, they murdered the 8 Jews. Then Joseph and Victoria, who was late in her pregnancy at the time. And then they killed the 6 children. The oldest was 8 years old, and the youngest was 2 years old. Last month, on September 10th, the family was beatified in Poland, the first time that an entire family, including the unborn child in the mother's womb, have been beatified together. They have also been recognized in Israel's Holocaust Memorial for aiding Jews during World War II. In the family's Bible, they found the gospel passage that we just heard underlined in red. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the greatest and the first commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Also underlined in red was the story of the Good Samaritan. And next to it was written one word: yes. When Jesus was asked which commandment in the law is the greatest, he summed up the 613 commandments that were found in the first 5 books of the Bible with love of God and love of neighbor. These are the greatest, he said. Just as breathing is both inhaling and exhaling, the love we have for God also turns us toward others, especially those that Jesus identified as the hungry, the thirsty, the naked, the homeless, the imprisoned, and the sick, and all who need to experience the love of God made visible through you and me. Sometimes real love demands sacrificing our own dreams and plans for others in order to enable them to live in love and hope. Parents do this all the time for their children. Love sometimes means accepting disappointments and hurt in order to forgive, to support, and to restore our relationship with another. Love can mean letting go of our expectations, our preferences, our own wants and needs, to let others live their lives, mistakes and all. This is the way that God loves us, always ready to forgive, restore, and welcome back, despite the foolish and sometimes hateful things that we're capable of. That is the kind of love that God asks us to have for one another. If only it were as easy as it sounds. Simple, yes, but easy, no. Jesus shared with us the greatest commandment, the one most important to his heart and the heart of God, the one that is the entire aim of the law, by which we direct our lives toward God. If we don't love God, we can't love what God loves. If we don't love God, we won't find our true identity in Jesus. If we don't love God, we aren't going to love our neighbor in the way that God loves them. You know, sometimes we don't have words in our language for the kind of love that we experience in God. The love of God is beyond our words and often beyond our comprehension. The love of God is often expressed through wonder, awe, and mystery. And it's hard to pin down, especially because it looks different to each person. When we love God more fully, we love our neighbor more fully. And some of the things that we do to show our love for God and neighbor will often make us seem odd to others. When greed and selfishness persist, we give even when we go without, or when it hurts, and for those we don't even know. There have always been persons who put their lives on the line to save a person in danger or harm's way. A soldier who throws his body on a bomb or takes a bullet so that the lives of others will be saved. Those who serve meals at homeless shelters during the holidays and throughout the year, once again for people they may not even know. Medical personnel who risk their lives to help people with deadly diseases. What makes hundreds of people show up in support of a missing person or those who have been affected by death or a tragedy? Well, we do this and much more because we believe that the only way that others may often see God's love is through us. As St. Francis of Assisi once said, "Preach the gospel at all times, and if necessary, use words." When we live consistently by our best standards, people notice. When we radiate joy and happiness, they notice even more. The only thing that ever achieved in life without effort is failure. Throughout our lives, we need a lot of people to help us to grow in awareness and the practice of love. We need good examples of how to love. Jesus always shows us the true meaning of that love. The mother of Christ, the saints and martyrs, whom we remember especially this coming week on All Saints' Day, parents and grandparents, teachers and spiritual leaders, friends and co-workers, and those who follow the golden rule simply and humbly are examples to us. That's what St. Paul was talking about in the second reading. He said, "You became imitators of us and of the Lord." You became a model for believers. In every place, your faith in God has gone forth. Living and giving this kind of love is always going to make us different and maybe even strange. Some will never understand it or accept it. Some will be suspicious about it or doubt it. Some are going to pay the price for it. But faith reveals that we can discover God and God's love as close as the next person.